James Clear's personal story, as shared in Atomic Habits, is a powerful testament to the principles he teaches in the book. His journey began in high school when a devastating accident nearly ended his dreams and changed his life forever. As an ambitious teenager passionate about baseball, he was suddenly faced with a near-fatal injury when a bat swung by a classmate accidentally struck him in the face. The impact was so severe that it caused multiple skull fractures, swelling in his brain, and a broken nose, leading to months of rehabilitation and an uncertain future. He was placed into a medically induced coma and later had to relearn even the simplest functions, such as breathing properly, walking, and regaining coordination. For a promising young athlete, this setback was nothing short of crushing. The incident not only took away his ability to play baseball at his previous level, but it also forced him to confront the mental and emotional challenges that came with recovery. The months that followed were filled with frustration, pain, and a constant battle against discouragement. He had to accept that his old life as he knew it was gone, and instead of feeling sorry for himself, he decided to take control of whatever small actions he could. However, what makes his story so inspiring is how he rebuilt his life, not through massive changes, but through small, consistent habits. After months of struggling with basic movements and daily tasks, Clear realized that his recovery wouldn't come from a single moment of transformation but rather from tiny improvements repeated consistently over time. He started by focusing on the smallest positive actions he could take each day. He developed habits such as going to bed at the same time every night, eating healthier, and committing to small, structured workout routines. These actions seemed insignificant at first, but they slowly compounded to bring back his strength, mental clarity, and discipline. Instead of focusing on immediate success, he embraced long-term progress, trusting that his small efforts would eventually lead to bigger outcomes. This gradual improvement allowed him to regain his ability to play baseball and, eventually, to compete at the collegiate level, something that seemed impossible after his accident. Even though he wasn't the star athlete he once dreamed of becoming, his ability to return to the sport at all was a testament to the power of persistence and small, daily progress. More importantly, he discovered something that extended beyond sports, the realization that identity is built through repeated actions, and that small habits, practiced consistently, have the potential to reshape lives in ways we cannot immediately see. Clear's story highlights the fundamental principle of atomic habits. Small habits, when practiced consistently, have the power to reshape our lives in ways we cannot initially see. His recovery was not based on willpower alone but on developing systems that made progress easier and more sustainable. His ability to overcome adversity through small, repeated actions shaped his philosophy on behavior change, leading him to explore the science behind habits and human behavior. This curiosity led to years of research and experimentation, ultimately culminating in the creation of Atomic Habits, a book that distills the lessons he learned from both his personal experience and the study of successful individuals across various fields. His journey also reinforced the concept that our habits are not just behaviors, but statements about who we are and who we are becoming. The way we repeatedly act determines our long-term trajectory, whether in health, career, relationships, or personal growth. Through his journey, Clear teaches an essential truth: success is not about dramatic transformations but about the accumulation of small, meaningful changes over time. His personal story is a living example of this principle, proving that no matter how difficult our circumstances may be, we always have the power to improve, one small habit at a time. This powerful message makes Atomic Habits more than just a book. It's a guide to rebuilding, improving, and transforming one's life, regardless of the obstacles we face. His story is a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming setbacks, we can take control of our actions, redefine our identities, and create a better future by focusing on the small, consistent steps that lead to lasting change. The power of habits lies in their ability to shape not just what we do, but who we become, and that is the core lesson James Clear shares through his personal journey and the framework of Atomic Habits. In the first section of Atomic Habits, James Clear introduces the fundamental principles of habit formation and explains why tiny changes can lead to remarkable results over time. He starts by challenging the common misconception that success is the result of massive, overnight transformations. Instead, he argues that true progress is achieved through small, incremental improvements, what he calls atomic habits. Clear emphasizes that habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just as money multiplies over time through compounding, small daily habits accumulate and create profound change in the long run. However, The problem is that while positive habits compound for our benefit, negative habits compound for our detriment. He provides examples to illustrate this point. Reading one page of a book each day may not seem significant at first, but over time, it can turn someone into a well-read individual. Conversely, indulging in junk food occasionally may not seem harmful, but when repeated daily, it can lead to serious health issues. This idea serves as the foundation for the book. Small changes may not be noticeable in the short term, but they make a massive difference in the long term. Clear introduces the concept of the plateau of latent potential, which explains why people often give up on habits too soon. He argues that change does not happen linearly, rather, progress is often invisible for a long time before a sudden breakthrough occurs. He compares this to the process of heating an ice cube. If a room is cold, raising the temperature slightly from 25 to 26 degrees, then 27 and so on, may not produce any visible change. But once it hits 32 degrees, the ice suddenly melts. The previous small increases in temperature were not wasted, they were building up to a critical point. This explains why many people quit habits too early. They do not see immediate results and assume their efforts are futile. However, if they persist, they may eventually experience the breakthrough they were waiting for. Understanding this concept helps individuals stay committed to their habits, even when progress seems slow or invisible. Another key idea in this section is the importance of focusing on identity rather than outcomes. Clear explains that people often set goals based on external achievements, losing weight, writing a book, or making more money. However, the key to long-term habit formation is shifting focus from outcome-based goals to identity-based habits. Instead of saying, "I want to lose weight," one should say, "I am the type of person who takes care of their body." When people change their identity, their actions naturally align with that identity. This is because every habit is a vote for the person we wish to become. The more we reinforce a certain identity with our habits, the stronger it becomes. For example, a person who consistently goes to the gym reinforces the identity of being a fit person. A writer who writes daily, even if just a few sentences, reinforces the identity of being a writer. By focusing on identity, habits become part of who we are, making them easier to maintain in the long run. Clear then discusses the 4 laws of behavior change, which form the framework for building good habits and breaking bad ones. He briefly introduces these laws: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying, which he later explores in detail in the following sections. The first law, make it obvious, revolves around how our environment and cues influence our habits. He explains that habits are triggered by cues in our surroundings, and by modifying these cues, we can shape our behavior. For example, placing a book on your pillow can serve as a visual reminder to read before bed, while hiding junk food can reduce the likelihood of unhealthy snacking. By designing our environment to support our desired habits, we can make positive behaviors easier and more natural. This section lays the foundation for everything else in Atomic Habits. It shifts the focus from short-term results to long-term identity change and highlights the importance of small, consistent improvements. The key takeaway is that habits are not about making a single huge leap, but about becoming 1% better every day. These small gains, compounded over time, lead to extraordinary results. By understanding the fundamentals of habit formation and focusing on identity-based change, individuals can create lasting transformation in any area of their lives. The next sections of the book dive deeper into each of the 4 laws, offering actionable strategies. This first section provides the essential mindset shift needed to approach habits effectively, realizing that tiny changes, repeated over time, lead to powerful, lasting change. James Clear's Atomic Habits introduces the first law of behavior change: make it obvious. This section explores how our environment, awareness, and cues influence our habits. The author explains that habits begin with a cue, something that triggers behavior, often unconsciously. To create good habits, we must make these cues obvious and visible, while for breaking bad habits, we must make them invisible or difficult to access. One of the key concepts introduced in this section is the habit scorecard, a system to track and identify current habits. Clear suggests that by becoming aware of our behaviors, we can evaluate which ones help or hinder our progress. Another powerful tool is implementation intention, which is a method of setting specific plans for when and where a habit will be performed. Instead of vague intentions like, "I will exercise more," an implementation intention transforms it into, "I will go for a 30-minute run at 7 a.m. in the park." This technique increases the likelihood of following through with new habits. He also introduces the concept of habit stacking, a method that ties a new habit to an existing one. For instance, if someone wants to start reading more, they can stack the habit by deciding to read for 5 minutes after making their morning coffee. By linking habits to established routines, they become easier to implement. Clear emphasizes the impact of our environment on habit formation. He argues that people often fail not because they lack motivation but because their environment does not support their goals. A cluttered desk may discourage productivity, while keeping a water bottle nearby can encourage drinking more water. Thus, redesigning our environment to make good habits easier and bad habits harder is crucial. He gives the example of someone wanting to eat healthier. By keeping fruits and vegetables in sight and junk food out of reach, they naturally gravitate toward better choices. The final lesson in this section is about how identity and habits are connected. Clear explains that real, lasting change occurs when a habit aligns with one's identity. Instead of focusing solely on outcomes like, I want to lose weight, shifting to an identity-based approach such as, I am a healthy person who exercises daily, leads to stronger commitment. This section lays the foundation for making habit formation easier by controlling cues, setting clear intentions, and shaping identity. By mastering the first law, individuals can ensure their habits align with their goals and set themselves up for long-term success. In the second law of behavior change, James Clear introduces the concept of making habits attractive, which is a crucial aspect of forming and maintaining long-term positive behaviors. The key idea here is that we are more likely to engage in behaviors that bring us immediate pleasure or appeal to our natural desires. This principle is deeply rooted in human psychology and is influenced by what Clear calls temptation bundling and the role of social environment. The second law is built on the foundation of classical conditioning, a psychological phenomenon where we associate a specific behavior with a desirable outcome. Clear explains that by pairing a habit we need to develop with something we already enjoy, we can increase the likelihood of sticking to it. For example, if someone loves watching their favorite TV show but struggles to exercise, they can allow themselves to watch the show only while walking on a treadmill. Over time, their brain associates exercise with pleasure, making it more attractive. This concept of temptation bundling not only makes new habits enjoyable but also helps reinforce consistency. Another critical aspect of making habits attractive is the influence of social norms. Clear emphasizes that we are highly influenced by the habits and behaviors of those around us. He introduces the idea of the three groups of social influence: the close, the many, and the powerful. We tend to adopt behaviors that are normal within our close circle, widely accepted in our broader community, or practiced by those we admire. This is why surrounding ourselves with people who already have the habits we aspire to build can make our desired behaviors more appealing. For example, if someone wants to develop the habit of reading daily, joining a book club or associating with avid readers can significantly increase the chances of success. The power of social influence means that we can make a habit more attractive by placing ourselves in environments where the desired behavior is the norm. Clear also delves into the neurological aspect of attraction by explaining how dopamine plays a crucial role in habit formation. Dopamine is the brain's reward chemical, and it is released not just when we experience pleasure but also when we anticipate it. This means that making habits attractive isn't just about enjoying the activity itself but about creating a craving for it. By designing habits in a way that triggers positive anticipation, we increase our motivation to engage in them. One effective way to do this is through habit stacking, linking a new habit to an already established one. If someone already has a strong morning coffee routine, they can attach a new habit, like journaling or meditating, right after their coffee. This connection makes the new habit more enticing because it becomes part of an existing, pleasurable sequence. Moreover, Clear highlights the importance of reprogramming our mindset to view habits as opportunities rather than obligations. If a habit is framed in a negative light, such as, I have to work out, it feels like a burden. But by reframing it to, I get to work out to improve my health, the habit becomes more attractive. This subtle shift in perspective can have a powerful impact on long-term adherence. Ultimately, the second law of behavior change, making habits attractive, reinforces the idea that successful habit formation is not just about discipline but about strategically designing our environment and mindset to make positive behaviors appealing. By leveraging temptation bundling, social influence, dopamine-driven cravings, and mental reframing, we can create a system where good habits become not just sustainable but enjoyable, ensuring long-term success in personal growth and transformation. In the fourth section of Atomic Habits, James Clear introduces the third law of behavior change: make it easy. This principle is based on the idea that we are more likely to stick with habits that require less effort and friction. The key to making a habit stick is to reduce the resistance to starting and maintaining it. Clear emphasizes that the most effective way to create new habits is not by focusing on motivation or willpower but by designing an environment that naturally supports them. One of the major concepts discussed in this section is the idea of motion versus action. Many people get stuck in motion, meaning they spend time planning, strategizing, and researching rather than actually taking steps toward their goals. For example, someone who wants to get fit might spend weeks researching workout plans without actually going to the gym. Clear argues that taking action, even if it's in a small way, is far more valuable than endless preparation. The 2-minute rule is another powerful strategy he introduces, which states that when beginning a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to start. This helps break down overwhelming goals into smaller, manageable actions. Instead of setting a daunting goal like read 1 book per week, the 2-minute rule suggests starting with a habit as simple as read 1 page. By making habits easy to start, they become more automatic over time. Clear also discusses the importance of shaping our environment to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. If a person wants to eat healthier, keeping nutritious snacks readily available while removing junk food from their home makes a significant difference. The principle of automation is also key. Habit stacking and setting up predefined responses to common situations can significantly increase the likelihood of following through with positive behaviors. Additionally, Clear introduces the concept of deliberate practice and repetition, explaining that habits are formed through frequency rather than duration. The more frequently an action is repeated, the more ingrained it becomes in our neural pathways, making it second nature. He highlights how successful individuals build powerful habits not by making radical changes overnight but by making small, consistent improvements over time. The takeaway from this section is clear: making habits easy to perform removes unnecessary barriers, allowing consistency to take over. The easier it is to engage in a habit, the more likely it is to become a lasting part of one's identity. By reducing friction, simplifying habits, and focusing on repetition, we can create behaviors that eventually become effortless and ingrained into our daily lives, leading to significant long-term change. In the fifth section of Atomic Habits, James Clear introduces the fourth law of behavior change: make it satisfying. This law focuses on the importance of immediate rewards in reinforcing positive behaviors and breaking bad habits. The human brain is wired to prioritize instant gratification over long-term benefits, which is why many people struggle with consistency in their habits. To build lasting habits, it is essential to find ways to make the process rewarding in the short term. Clear explains that behaviors that are immediately satisfying are more likely to be repeated, while those that result in delayed rewards are often abandoned. He introduces the concept of the cardinal rule of behavior change, which states that what is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided. This idea is supported by the concept of reinforcement learning, where positive reinforcement strengthens neural pathways associated with a habit, making it more likely to stick. One strategy Clear suggests is habit tracking, which provides a visual representation of progress and serves as a satisfying reward in itself. By marking off a completed habit on a calendar or a habit tracker, individuals experience a sense of achievement, which motivates them to continue. This aligns with the idea of the streak effect, where the longer a habit is maintained without interruption, the harder it becomes to break. Another method to make habits satisfying is through the use of immediate rewards. Since many beneficial habits, like exercising or saving money, have long-term benefits but lack immediate gratification, pairing them with instant rewards can enhance motivation. For example, someone trying to build a reading habit might reward themselves with a favorite snack after completing a chapter. However, Clear warns against using rewards that contradict the habit itself, such as indulging in junk food after a workout, as this can undermine progress. The section also discusses the importance of an identity-based approach to behavior change. When habits align with one's identity, they become inherently satisfying. Instead of merely focusing on external rewards, individuals should reinforce their new identity through self-affirmation. For example, instead of saying, "I am trying to read more," one should affirm, "I am a reader." This shift in perspective creates a deep-rooted connection between the habit and one's sense of self, making the behavior more likely to persist. Additionally, Clear introduces the idea of habit contracts, a method that leverages social accountability to make habits more satisfying. By publicly committing to a habit and setting up consequences for failure, individuals create an additional layer of motivation to stay consistent. Clear also explores the challenge of breaking bad habits by making them unsatisfying. Just as immediate rewards reinforce good habits, introducing immediate consequences can help eliminate negative behaviors. For example, an individual trying to quit smoking might set up a penalty system where they have to donate money to a cause they dislike every time they smoke. This creates an immediate negative association with the habit, making it less appealing over time. Ultimately, this section of Atomic Habits emphasizes the power of satisfaction in shaping behavior. By making good habits rewarding and bad habits unsatisfying, individuals can create a system that supports continuous improvement and long-term success. The key takeaway is that habits should not only lead to beneficial outcomes in the future but should also feel enjoyable and rewarding in the present. By implementing strategies such as habit tracking, immediate rewards, identity reinforcement, and accountability systems, individuals can sustain positive behaviors and eliminate detrimental ones, leading to lasting personal transformation. The final section of Atomic Habits, titled Advanced Tactics: How to Go from Being Merely Good to Being Truly Great, takes the principles of habit formation beyond just daily improvements and delves into strategies that separate top performers from the rest. This section explores the nuances of mastery, peak performance, and long-term commitment to excellence, emphasizing that true greatness is not just about hard work but about aligning habits with identity, optimizing performance, and embracing continuous refinement. One of the key ideas in this section is the concept of the Goldilocks zone, which suggests that humans perform best when they are working on tasks that are neither too easy nor too difficult but instead sit at the edge of their current abilities. This concept applies to habits as well. If a habit is too easy, it quickly becomes boring, but if it is too difficult, it leads to discouragement. The secret to sustained motivation is to consistently challenge oneself just enough to stay engaged but not so much that it becomes overwhelming. James Clear explains that this approach keeps people in a state of flow, a mental state where they are fully immersed in the task at hand, experiencing both enjoyment and productivity simultaneously. Another crucial topic in this section is the idea of measuring progress and staying accountable. While habits themselves may be small, tracking them can provide the motivation and reinforcement needed to stay on course. Clear introduces the concept of habit tracking, where people mark their progress visually, such as crossing off days on a calendar when they successfully complete a habit. This simple practice provides a sense of accomplishment and makes it less likely to break the habit chain. However, he also warns against becoming too rigid or overly reliant on perfection, explaining that occasional slip-ups are normal and should not discourage long-term progress. The key is to never miss twice. If a habit is broken one day, it should be resumed the next to avoid the downward spiral of inconsistency. In addition to habit tracking, accountability partners and social reinforcement play an essential role in helping individuals stay on track. When people share their goals with others or commit to a system where they are held accountable, they are more likely to follow through on their habits, as the social pressure serves as an added layer of motivation. James Clear also touches on the importance of identity-based habits and how they contribute to long-term success. He reiterates the idea that true behavior change happens when habits become an integral part of one's identity rather than just tasks to be completed. For example, instead of trying to read more books, one should focus on becoming a reader. Instead of exercising to lose weight, one should embody the identity of an athlete. When people align their habits with who they want to become, the process of maintaining those habits becomes more natural and sustainable. This identity shift fosters intrinsic motivation, making it easier to stick to habits in the long run. The final topic Clear discusses in this section is the role of genetics and personality in habit formation. While habits and behaviors are influenced by external factors, genetics also play a role in determining natural inclinations and strengths. Clear emphasizes that instead of fighting against one's natural tendencies, people should work with them by identifying habits that align with their strengths and personal preferences. By focusing on habits that naturally suit their abilities, individuals can make habit formation more enjoyable and increase their chances of long-term success. This doesn't mean that people should avoid challenges, but rather that they should build habits that play to their strengths while gradually improving weaker areas over time. In conclusion, the final section of Atomic Habits serves as a guide to optimizing performance and sustaining long-term growth. By working within the Goldilocks zone, tracking habits, leveraging social accountability, embracing identity-based habits, and aligning habits with personal strengths, individuals can go beyond being merely good and achieve true greatness. The principles in this section emphasize that habit formation is not just about making life easier but about making it more fulfilling and purpose-driven. James Clear's approach provides a clear roadmap for anyone looking to refine their habits and reach their full potential, proving that mastery is not about massive overnight success but about small, consistent improvements over time. The conclusion of Atomic Habits serves as a powerful reminder of the key principles discussed throughout the book, reinforcing the idea that small habits, when consistently practiced, lead to remarkable long-term results. James Clear emphasizes that true success is not about making radical changes overnight but about the steady accumulation of small improvements. He argues that real transformation comes from shifting focus from goals to systems. Goals set the direction, but it is the systems, the daily habits, that determine progress. This distinction is crucial because goals alone do not bring results, rather, the habits we implement shape our trajectory and long-term success. Clear reiterates that small, seemingly insignificant actions, when repeated consistently, create a compound effect over time. This compounding process is what leads to breakthroughs and sustainable change. One of the core messages of the book's conclusion is that identity plays a significant role in habit formation. The habits we build reinforce the identity we wish to embody. Instead of setting a goal to run a marathon, for example, we should focus on becoming the type of person who runs regularly. By focusing on identity-based habits, we ensure that the actions we take become a natural part of who we are, making them more sustainable in the long run. Clear also touches on the importance of resilience and the ability to recover quickly from setbacks. Failure is inevitable in any long-term pursuit, but it is our ability to get back on track quickly that determines our overall success. Missing a habit once is not a problem. The real danger lies in allowing small lapses to snowball into full regression. The 2-minute rule, habit tracking, and environmental design are tools that can help maintain consistency even during difficult periods. The book concludes with a call to action, encouraging readers to apply what they have learned and take ownership of their habits. It emphasizes that lasting change does not come from motivation alone but from designing an environment and system that makes success inevitable. Every action we take is a vote for the kind of person we want to become, and through small, daily improvements, we can achieve remarkable transformations. The final takeaway from Atomic Habits is clear: lasting success is built through consistent, incremental changes that compound over time. By focusing on building effective systems, shaping our identity through small habits, and maintaining resilience in the face of challenges, we can create the conditions for continuous improvement and long-term fulfillment. James Clear's message is one of empowerment. No matter where we start, we have the ability to shape our future, one habit at a time.